Now we should be live on Facebook, YouTube, and Facebook and YouTube. So for those that are just tuning in, this is El Nino's Tornado Hunters podcast, and we're not actually live yet. What you're watching is the raw recording of our podcast. So primarily, this will be a audio podcast, but we are recording live. And with us tonight, we've got Amanda Ruler. Amanda, welcome, and thanks for joining us for episode number 1.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, and just again, just so that everybody's clear on this, we're recording now, and we're going to record a few episodes of this show before we start uploading them to the podcast. But we're going to be part of a podcast network, which is part of the Stormfront Freaks podcast network. And Stormfront Freaks is a podcast that I've been on for a while now, and we record every 2 weeks. So what we're doing with this El Nino's, the Tornado Hunters podcast, is we are going to be putting this podcast, sort of sandwiching in the bi-weekly podcast from Stormfront Freaks. So it'll be alternate weeks, Stormfront Freaks, and then the Tornado Hunters podcast, El Nino's. And by the way, guys, you need to start putting a little Spanish kind of love in, El Nino's. Okay, we gotta, and actually, it would probably help if at least one of us learned to speak even half-ass some Spanish, right?
Oh, Chiric. ¿Dónde está el baño?
Where's the donuts?
Dos cervezas, por favor.
Carne asada tacos. There you go. I want steak tacos. That's all I learned when I lived in California. So,
and so Amanda, how long were you down there in California? How long did you live down there?
Like around 5 years, like on and off. Like I'd come back to Canada for a little bit. So I actually played football in the States.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. And you're training CFL athletes now?
Yeah, so I kind of transitioned a little bit. So now I was a football player for Team Canada, and I did play football in the States for the Legends Football League, for the LA Temptations, and then the Atlanta Steam. So now I train football players for speed-specific movements. So a lot of the time, like they have their trainers that are strength and conditioning coaches. I have my CSCS, which is Certified Strength and Conditioning Coach, but I was on the University of Regina track team for 5 years, as well as was on the soccer team. So I gained a lot of experience training with track athletes. So I'm trying to share that knowledge with some CFL athletes, and I work with some of their University of Regina Rams as well, trying to get these guys faster, because they all have an opportunity to be a little bit better, a little bit faster, greater at their sport. So I'm here to help.
So when I get my so I have a torn meniscus, torn ACL, and I'm getting that surgery in the fall. Ooh. Are you gonna help rehab me? Are you gonna do the rehab for me? Right on. I like that. That sounds
100%. Like that's actually some of my background, as well as certified exercise physiologist. I know I keep going on. I got a lot under my belt, but I can help you get better. So
well, that sounds good. So anyway, listen, gang, for everybody who's tuning in, and thank you. It looks like we've got Garrett tuning in from Virginia. We've got Manitoba tuning in. Frida from Alberta. Dylan from Manitoba as well. We got Saskatoon, and I'm sure we'll have some other. What's that?
You making all these up?
I'm not. There's already comments rolling in. But just so you know, what you're watching right now is our raw recording of our very first episode of El Nino's, the Tornado Hunters podcast, and so we're gonna go live here, or not live. We're already live. We're gonna go to the recording here in a moment. But before we do that, guys, what I'm gonna do. I just got a couple of pre-show notes that I have to record. We're going to use this in the audio when we cut the podcast. So let's do that right now. So 3, 2, 1. This is El Nino's, the Tornado Hunters podcast. Tonight on episode 1, we are joined by Amanda Ruler, Dylan Atack, and Frankie McDonald, and also special guest appearance by our friend Alan Gofenko. Excellent. Okay, so got that one out of the way. Now, Ricky, anything you want to record right now before we get started? Anything, any audio you want to record? Anything smart that you want to say?
Wow.
Hey, yo.
It's like, where's he going with this? It's a really good start. I have good feelings about this relationship. Now I see why Tornado Hunters got canceled.
Yeah. It's hard to believe there was just that one season. Oh, that's too funny.
Yeah, no, nothing. I had nothing.
Nothing. All right, Alan. I'm gonna throw you then to the back room for a few minutes, and Cubby, you'll cue Alan to come back in when we actually get started.
Yeah. So,
here.
Alan, really quick, if there's some stuff you want to chat about, just type me in that private chat over on the right-hand side, and then we'll kind of get you in there.
Yeah, right on. Okay, I'm going to just pull him out there for a second. Looks like we got Kelly tuning in from North Carolina.
Cool.
And we got Regina tuned in, center of the universe. That's what Dave Medellin says. Tuning in from Regina, center of the universe. I love it. Okay, perfect. So let's actually get going now. Let's get this rolling. I got the nerves, guys. I got to tell you, I'm a little bit nervous. I've been so excited to talk to Amanda here, and so let's get this rolling. So I'm going to play the intro music, and when we come out of that intro, I'll just have a short introduction, and then we'll go from there. All right. So we're gonna make this up as we go along. Episode number 1. Who the hell knows how this is gonna turn out? This should be interesting. All right. Let's do it. So let me cue up this music, and we'll go 3, 2, 1.
You're listening to El Niños, the Tornado Hunters podcast.
Holy crap. What a monster. Right up next to two of them now.
Grab a cerveza and turn up those speakers.
God, man! Whoa!
Good driving, Ricky.
Oh, this vehicle's underneath it. Oh, it's taking out power poles.
All right, here we go. Episode number 1 of a brand new podcast, El Niños. You know what?
Hola.
Yeah, you know what it means? El Niños means the children. And that seems wildly appropriate for the Tornado Hunters. And I think we're going to have a lot of fun with this. And I think the best way to do this, for those of you that are tuned in and you're maybe not familiar with the Tornado Hunters, maybe you weren't one of the millions of people that actually saw the show on television. I mean, it was a huge hit around the world. The Philippines were really in love with the Tornado Hunters. But because of that, maybe you haven't heard of who we all are. So let me start off with some introductions. First of all, I want to introduce Cubby. Cubby is Chris Chittick. Chris Chittick, he's from Grand Rapids, Michigan. This is a guy who spent several seasons on Discovery Channel's Storm Chasers. And then in 2013, he joined us here at Tornado Hunters. And he's been doing that ever since. He is the only man I know who has literally never had a real job. that is absolutely true. That is absolutely true.
That is
he
true.
worked at a golf course and then started storm chasing, and now he has 3 kids.
That all goes out thanks to my wife, Chelsea. She's the breadwinner of the family.
All right, Cubby. So tell us how you got that nickname, Cubby.
Yeah, so it all started back at the golf course. It started out as a bag boy. They called me Cubby, and then ended up being a golf tournament at the place that I worked at, the Cubby Classic. and it's just stuck with me ever since.
Right on. Well, and let's now go to, and I'm just going to.
I don't believe it. They named a golf tournament after you.
That's right, Ricky. That is right.
You're so full of shit. You always lie.
I can give you the golf course's name, and you can call them, and that golf tournament still holds.
Well, and listen, let's use this opportunity to introduce Ricky Forbes. Now, here's a man who so Ricky's been with Tornado Hunters since 2012, and I was actually sitting beside Ricky when he saw his very first tornado, and listen, Ricky has had over a dozen concussions under his belt, and he's seen close to 100 tornadoes. Clearly, this guy, his guidance counselor from high school, owes him an apology. Ricky, welcome to the show. What do you think this is going to be like? Are you looking forward to it, or are we just embarrassing ourselves at this stage?
You know what? I liken this to whenever I get asked about how I got into storm chasing, I just mention how I failed out of high school and ran out of options. It feels very much how I ended up here now.
Makes sense. Makes perfect sense.
Or I also like to say that one day my now colleague Greg Johnson calls me up and he says, "Hey, do you want to chase storms and disappoint your mother?" Yeah, that's what I want to do.
Well, we can tell you what, Ricky, you nailed it.
Yeah, you nailed it. Listen, let's get to the last member of the team here. I want to introduce NickTheBody. NickTheBody. Now that's quite a handle to live up to, NickTheBody. Nick lives in a world full of cryptocurrency, a dash cam, ham radios, motion cameras surrounding his home, and occasionally live streaming a tornado or two. For anyone listening, if I ever go missing, Nick should be your prime suspect. Nick, welcome to the show.
Well, thanks, Greg. And as always, it's whatever the opposite of a pleasure to be here is. I couldn't think of the word off the top of my head, what the word for the opposite of pleasure would be.
Displeasure?
No, I think there's got to be a better word. It's probably something along the lines of burden.
I like it.
Well, good to have you on, Nick.
I want to introduce myself as well, guys. I'm Greg Johnson. I started chasing tornadoes shortly after a near mental breakdown. Along with these three knuckleheads, I've put on close to 1 million miles chasing storms across North America. Guys, welcome to episode number 1. This is El Niños, the Tornado Hunters podcast. So, what are we drinking tonight, guys? Nick, are you drinking anything? Are you like, what do you got?
Coke Zero, 1 liter model.
Ricky Forbes?
Woo! Stop by the gas station, grab a slush.
High octane.
Very childish.
Cubby, what about you?
I'm drinking a lovely coffee because the reason being is my wife, Chelsea, she's at full term. So we could literally have a baby at any minute. So I need to be on point and drink my coffee.
You act like you're involved.
Well, Thursday's the day, my friend.
I really hope it happens in the next hour and 6 minutes.
Well, if I suddenly disappear, you guys know why.
Right on. All right, Ricky. Ricky, do I hear a kid crying?
Yeah, sounds like it.
Ricky, listen, you have somebody you want to introduce for us.
I would love to introduce my good friend, Amanda Ruler, to the podcast. Amanda and I last year had the pleasure of working together for the Saskatchewan Rush. That's the local lacrosse team here in our home province of Saskatchewan. And as the co-hosts, Amanda and I were the people out in the field with the mics, getting the crowd going and all pumped up. But all that said, Amanda's claim to fame is winning a Price is Right car. And we'll get to that right away. I have lots of questions. Beyond all that, I do have to mention Amanda's resume as an incredible athlete. And she will tell you better, but she's played running back for the Legends Football League, both in Los Angeles Temptations as well as for the Atlanta Steam. Amanda's also a former Olympic weightlifter in the 53 kilogram category. And she also has an incredibly entertaining Instagram feed at Amanda Ruler. You definitely got to check that out. And so that's the quick and dirty on Amanda. I'll let us fill us in more on what all makes her. So first off, Amanda, you got to tell us about Price is Right.
Ooh, let's start there. Well,
What happened? How did this all come about?
So, like you said, I was playing for the Legends Football League. So I played football in the States, and I had applied online to get Ellen tickets. And they said, hey, sorry, no Ellen tickets this week. Do you want Price is Right tickets? So I was like, whatever, cool. Got the tickets. I grabbed a couple of my teammates. So 3 or 4 girls. We went down to the studio. You have to wait in line for quite a long time. So you're waiting in line, and they actually interview every single person that's in line for 30 seconds. So they go up, every person, when they got to me, they're like, tell me about you. I'm like, I'm Amanda, super bubbly. I'm from Canada. And they're like, oh my goodness, here we go. And I was like, I love Plinko, and I play football. And they're like, holy smokes, this girl's pretty cool, right? So they were calling up the first line of people, and I was the last person to be called up, and I exploded with energy. I ran up to the stage, and they kind of put you up there and you have to guess on the first item. So everybody guessed before me, and then I bid $1, $1, because I was like, everybody's over. And guess what? Everybody was over, and I won. Awesome. So I got to go up on the stage, and all I remember is I kind of, when you're in a, there we go, there's the music. So that music started playing, and I almost just kind of blacked out. I started flexing on stage, and I remember he was asking my name, and I was just flexing and pointing, because when I watched the episode later, he was like, tell me your name, and he puts the mic out, and I don't even answer. And he's like, never mind then. Yeah.
So was that Drew, or was that old school?
Drew. So it was Drew Carey. So I actually grew up watching the Drew Carey show. So it was kind of awesome to see him in real life after watching that show growing up. For sure. And he brought out this big thing. So this game was called high-low. So it was those really big dice, and you had to actually roll the dice according to the price of the car. And so if you didn't hit the number, you had to guess higher or lower. And the odds were in my favor, like the Hunger Games or something. And I guessed the exact high, low, high, low. I guessed all the numbers, and I won a car. I won a car. It was a Hyundai Sonata.
Wow.
So they actually had to cut me a check because I'm Canadian. So they gave me the full amount for the car.
Okay, so listen, I think everybody wants to know, because they're always wondering how these things work. When you say you got a check for the full amount.
Yes.
They don't go, or you could take the cash and it's a lesser amount or anything like you literally got the full amount of the car?
So I'm glad you asked this, because this is the tricky part. So if you are an American citizen, you have to accept the prize as is, but you have to pay a prize tax of 27%. Wow. So yeah, because I'm foreign, and they couldn't just for some reason, they couldn't just give me the car. They had to cut me a check because I was foreign. So you actually don't have the option. Because I'm from Saskatchewan, if you receive a gift from the States, if you got a prize from the States, it's considered a gift. So you're actually allowed to keep the full amount.
Oh, cool.
So it was a loophole.
Wow.
In the system. Yeah. So I had the extreme loophole. So it worked out in my favor.
That is
Was it Canadian funds, or was it US funds?
It was US funds.
Man, this story just keeps getting better and better.
So I actually just waited till the exchange rate was even more in my favor, and then I ended up getting around 32,000. So it was pretty good.
Whoa.
Yeah.
How long was the whole experience?
From the minute we got in line to the minute we were done, and I had to go backstage and fill out some forms to accept my money, it was 8 hours.
Oh, wow.
An 8-hour experience.
Yeah.
Because I got to, I actually went to the Showcase Showdown as well. And because I spent a 90 on the wheel, but then I bombed out, I guess, too much over the prize because it was like a Ducati and some diamond earrings. I didn't know how much those things were. So I didn't win that. That would have added to my prize. But yeah, so I ended up being there for 8 hours. And then
Chris, 8 hours is about roughly the time that a full workday is, just for
Gotcha.
for reference, in case you were wondering.
Copy that.
And then for when they cut you the check, it takes 6 months. It takes 6 months to cut you a check.
Oh,
Chris,
yeah.
that's roughly half a year.
Yeah.
So what'd you do with the money then, Amanda?
Sorry, go ahead.
I actually bought my own car because I didn't have a car. So I bought a car.
Did you buy a Sonata?
I did not. That's not like a car that I would be super into. I bought a Jeep Patriot.
Oh, cool. Those are
Of
nice.
course you did.
Yeah,
of course.
might as well.
I gotta interrupt. Cubby and Nick giving you a hard time about time. Greg, do you remember Chittick sitting in the back of the truck and you being like, tornado, 4 o'clock, and Chittick being like 1, 2, 3, having to count out a clock to figure out.
Yeah, and when I said, "Hey, there's a tornado at 9 o'clock," holy shit, that took forever.
I'm looking out the wrong window. You just say, "Hey, it's the other window."
Man.
Oh, that's great. Well, listen, Amanda, I have a question for you with respect to your time when you were down in the States. So, when you were living in Atlanta, did you live there, or were you just sort of traveling back and forth, or did you actually live in Atlanta?
I did live in Atlanta, and for half the time, and then the other half, South Carolina, actually. So because I was living with teammates, so it was kind of a nomad. So it was kind of living with a couple people for a couple months, and then I lived the rest of my time in South Carolina.
So when you're down there, I mean, they can get some pretty nasty weather. Right now is tornado season down in what we call Dixie Alley. And in fact, this last week, there was close to 30 tornadoes in that Dixie Alley area. Did you ever see anything like that? Any experiences with hurricanes or tornadoes when you were down there?
Not personally, but the weather was so unpredictable. Like there was one point where they said we did have to get out of there. Like, so we were in South Carolina and it can be just so humid and hot. Like I could do I know you guys don't understand, but I could do my hair and then I could walk outside.
I understand.
It was like poof, like the humidity was just, so I never did my hair really. So it was so humid and it would be so hot. And then all of a sudden it would just start raining out of nowhere. And one of the times they said we did have to evacuate because there was something crazy, like a tornado almost coming. So I actually drove to Atlanta for the weekend that time. So I got out of the storm, but apparently there was a pretty bad storm there.
It's funny, Amanda, that you think that we wouldn't understand about hair and hair product, but I don't know if you've seen Greg with the ultra perm kind of thing going on there.
Okay, now watch. Now you think it's bad here, Nick? Take the ponytail out. NickTheBody is going.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, no,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yes,
okay,
worth it.
You get it then. You get it. I get it now. Yeah.
If you're only listening to the audio version of this, be very happy you're only listening to the audio version of this and not looking at what we're looking at right at the moment. But
comparing hair.
I think it looks great, Nick.
You know those people you meet that are just hung on to high school? That's Nick's haircut.
Glory days?
Yeah, the glory days.
There you go.
I don't really have anything to say. My hair is way nicer than anyone, all 4 of you, in fact, on the
100%.
not even
Yeah.
close, really.
What kind of product do you
It's
use?
shiny, like, you know.
So just in case
Greasy.
you're wondering, if you go out and buy bulk shampoo from Costco before you get locked down for a pandemic in March 2020, the 2-pack of L'Oreal shampoo bottles for men, if you have hair my length, that'll last you about 13 months.
Wow. Good tip.
So you got about another month.
Yeah, little. I think I've got about 8 or 9 pumps left in there, but I really work it right down to the bitter end though. Like I don't waste any product. So
Do you condition as well, or is it just straight up shampoo?
it's a 2-in-1.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
See, I
is
don't have to
very
worry about
boring.
hair.
Yeah, it is perfect.
Peter
Hey,
Slack.
Chris, I don't know if you noticed, Cubby, I don't know if you noticed Peter Slack just sent a message here saying "Holy beard," and I can only assume he's referring to you. He's probably never seen that before.
Peter is probably one of the nicest, most just talented camera operators I've ever met. He's a great director. I mean, he's good at everything he does, but he's also a stunning guy. I mean, look at that picture. Just amazing.
You say that about all the boys.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So
That's dead air,
Amanda.
guys. Dead air. We don't want dead air.
Oh,
Amanda, when you're playing football down in the States, were the crowds big?
yeah. Okay, I'll talk about that a little bit. It's kind of a cool experience. So I played in the Legends Football League. I don't know if you guys ever saw when Regina had a team here. So it's when at one point, like literally like 2010 ago, they had a team. So it's the women with where they wear sports bras and kind of like the short shorts, like the bum huggers, just the pads, and you got a little hockey helmet going on. So we actually played in the arenas down there, and I got to play in cool places like the LA Coliseum, where not a lot of guys play in their football career. We had huge crowds come out and watch us. Around 10,000 people would come and watch us play football. And we were actually on the W network at the time, or the O network, sorry, Oprah network, where people could watch us play. And it was really, really cool experience to be on TV and playing in the States. And that's what kind of attracted me to it. I always watched the CFL games here with my family growing up. And I remember asking, like, my dad, I was like, can women play football too? And he's like, yeah, you can do whatever you want to do. Like, I was never put any limitations on who I was as a person. So when I saw that league on TV, I was like, I want to do that for me. So I actually went to the States and did an open tryout, like by myself. I drove my car to Los Angeles and did an open tryout.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
So you're saying
Yeah.
you're on the Oprah network. Did you ever meet Oprah?
No, I wasn't on that part of it. So I just played. I wish that I did. That would have been like a huge lifetime goal. So when I had went to this, sorry.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
When I had went to the States, like I had no family and no friends there. And I was just kind of going like on a whim, like to kind of make a dream come true for me. And they said I was actually too short to play when I did my tryouts because I'm only 5'0" on the dot, like 120 pounds, maybe. So I did I ran the 40 and I'm extremely fast from what I've been telling you guys. I ran like a 4.75 and I actually had to run it 2 more times because they could not believe, they thought there was something wrong with their stopwatch and I ran the same time 2 extra times. So they're like, you know what, you're super fast, but I don't think you can play football because I hadn't played before, just ran track. And I said, when are your practices? So I actually ended up showing up to their practices and I pushed my way. I was like, can I practice? Please, can you let me practice? So I pushed my way on the team and I ended up starting.
That's awesome.
It is cool.
And what position were you?
Running back.
Right on.
Yeah.
Any hardcore injuries or just nothing too crazy?
I actually ended up tearing my meniscus on my left side here. And I had to go through surgery to get a scope done on that. And I ended up playing football again within 4 months because that's how serious I was about my prehab surgery and post-surgery stuff. Because of my background in sports and my education and my certified exercise physiology degree, I was able to rehab myself with the help of other people, physios and stuff like that, and get myself back in the game right away.
So is that hard to run on a broken toe? Is that the meniscus?
Oh
my God.
It could be. No, it's on your knee.
Jake's not
gotcha.
joking.
Gotcha.
Greg,
Okay, good.
Greg,
I was
you
like,
got a
all right.
torn meniscus, don't you?
I do have a torn meniscus.
Probably for the same
When?
reason as Amanda.
No, mine was beach volleyball.
Oh
Or
man.
let me rephrase that. Old guy beach volleyball.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Didn't
Well, if you need help rehabbing, I'm here.
So it's very, very painful injury. Honest to God, it is not a happy time over
No.
here. So tell me about the surgery. because like I'm really, really afraid of the surgery.
Oh, you shouldn't be at all. Okay, so I was kind of nervous going into it, but honestly, once they put you to sleep, like they tell you to count back from 10, and you're like your heart's racing a little bit because you're super nervous. When you open your eyes, it's over. And you, like whoever's picking, get someone to pick you up. It just seems like you close your eyes and open them and it's done. And whenever you get home, like within the next couple of days, it'll start to ache. And what hurt me the most was sleeping, because you want to turn over. I don't know if you like to turn in your sleep like I do, but as soon as you try to turn, it just hurts. Like you can't, because it's so swollen altogether. Yeah, exactly. It just sucks. Like sleeping sucked for a couple months. And even when like now, like it's been, holy smokes, like 4 years since my surgery, when it rains, I know I'm not in my, like it seems to swell up a little bit and it aches.
Greg,
cool. So you're like the human barometer right now. That's so cool.
Yeah.
It's pronounced thermometer.
Thermometer. I can tell where it's gonna. I was like, okay, there's a 10% chance it's already raining over there. So,
Greg, you have a chance of being a decent storm chaser after this.
Yeah, well, time will tell.
Yeah. I was gonna say too, like, I mean, you're talking about rolling around in your sleep. Like Ricky, you would know because you sleep with Greg in the same bed when we're on the road. Like, does Greg move around a lot, or is he kind of just stay rigid in his bed?
The closest I've been to murdering somebody is sleeping in the same room as Chittick. He snores at the decibel of a chainsaw, and he insists on having the TV on loud. And if you turn the TV off, you wake back up and the TV is cranked up again.
So yeah, Amanda, I gotta tell you this about Cubby. So, like Cubby, before he got the CPAP, what he would do is he would be, I would wake up in the middle of the night and I'd look over at the other bed, and Chris would be sitting up, straight up in bed, cross legs, sitting on the bed, sound asleep, going.
Yeah, it was really bad.
Sitting up in bed, sound asleep. Weirdest thing I've ever.
Really bad.
Unreal. So, no, go ahead.
Yeah, so Amanda, amazing football background. You've done lots of athlete stuff over the years, and you're talking about how you're doing speed training with the athletes now.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe chatting a little bit about that. I'm really curious, what's next for you?
Yeah, so I actually also play on Team Canada Women's World's football team. So that's a fully dressed league. And we played in 2017 and we got a silver medal in Worlds, which is really cool. So potentially it's supposed to be this year. We're supposed to play again in the Worlds tournament. I mean, due to COVID, it's hard to tell you guys that we are going to be playing, but crossing my fingers, we do play again for Team Canada. And other than that, I actually compete in a weightlifting, so Olympic weightlifting. So that comprises of snatch and clean and jerk. So it's where you lift the bar literally one movement above your head and the other one you clean it up to your shoulders and then jerk it above your head. So I actually hold the Saskatchewan record in both for snatch and clean and jerk. So just to give you a little, like, I'm 5 foot tall, like 5 foot even. I'm like 120 pounds. So I can snatch around 170 pounds above my head, and I can clean and jerk 200 pounds. Yeah. Kind of cool, hey?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
So that's right. I can roll with the best of them. So now I kind of had to transition into coaching people like during the pandemic because there hasn't been any meets for me. I'm coaching everything from the University of Regina Rams football boys because they're potentially, hopefully going into a season. So we're doing off-season speed training as well as CFL players. I have a few of them under my belt I'm working with going into a potential season. And a couple guys are getting ready for Combine, CFL Combine. It is virtual, but we're trying to do the best that we can. And on the side, I do sports broadcasting for the CFL. So I'll be doing the Rough Riders if we do have a season. So
I almost injured myself trying to load a 20 kilogram bag of flour into my Yaris at Costco on Tuesday. It's similar in form, because I put it on the bottom of the cart, right? So you gotta I've been told, I don't know about if this is true or not, but I've been told that the best way to lift heavy items is mostly with your back. So
Lower back.
Yeah,
right.
low
So when
back.
when I took the flour and I grabbed it by the ends, and you hoist up and try and get it on your shoulder to then bring it back down into the trunk.
What's a Urus?
It's what they call an ultra subcompact vehicle.
Thanks for clearing that up.
Now, the other question I had was, you mentioned that you're working with some players on the combine, and what is it about farming that makes good football players?
They're strong, they're just super strong, young, strapping men,
Don't put up with that, Amanda.
Listen, let's take that opportunity. Let's take that opportunity, Amanda. You had mentioned the COVID and the lockdown and having to change and learn some new skills. And when it comes to storm chasing, when it comes to photography, learning how to run a camera is of the utmost importance. And getting a chance to learn a new skill during something like COVID it's an amazing opportunity that you have in those times. And so I started a website called Camera Easy, and Camera Easy is a website that you can subscribe to and learn how to use your camera. And I use all the skills that we've learned and adapted from storm chasing, and give people an opportunity to learn how to use their camera. It's a great time, as we said, that with COVID and the lockdown, great opportunity to learn a new skill. And what we'll do now, guys, let's go to our first break. And when we come back, we're going to play a couple fun games with Amanda, and Nick is going to take us through some videos, some topical weather videos from the recent weather videos, and we'll spend some time discussing those. Should be a lot of fun, but let's take our first break. All right, there we go. So that's our first segment, guys. For everybody who's watching live, again, we are recording this for podcast purposes. So this will primarily be an audio podcast, but we obviously are doing our raw recording and doing it live to video. And you can, you're obviously, guys, how are you enjoying it so far? How are we doing? First episode, how are we doing? How are you feeling?
Yeah, it looks like on the comments, a lot of good feedback from what I'm seeing.
Yeah, except for Nick, right? Is that what you're reading? Except for Nick?
Yeah.
Yeah, I find it tough to hold my tongue. I want to talk over people.
Yeah,
but I'll learn.
Yeah. Well,
I'd also like to hold your tongue.
Did you say hold your tongue or bite your tongue?
Hold.
That's a Saskatoon thing, I think.
Hey, man, I gotta say something.
Yeah.
When your speed training videos, they look super cool, but they look like professional hopscotch. I think you should make a video of that.
Okay.
I think it'd be super funny.
Professional hopscotch? Yeah, let's do it.
Wait, you jump down, you hop on one leg. It looks like you're doing hopscotch.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah, that's like it goes to quick turnover rate. So that's like a plyometrics type of stuff. So when you do the depth jump, it's quick turnover, and it just helps with ankles being very stiff, and then being able to help that athlete for injury prevention later on. So that's why we do those drills.
Amanda, I think he was just trying to have some fun with you, okay? You don't have to be so damn serious all the time.
I'm so sorry. The coach in me comes out. Just like, here you go. Yeah.
Do you really need to get your knee surgery, Greg?
I do, yeah.
When is that happening?
In the fall. I don't know the exact date, but it's in the fall. So, and hopefully then I'll be rehabbed. Amanda, ACL and meniscus. Do you think I'll be good to go by March or April?
To run a 40?
No, to walk around.
To be able to hobble in and out of a truck.
Yes, yeah, 100%.
Ricky, grab my tripod.
Yeah, you'll be able to.
That's good.
If you stick to your physio regimen or whoever's helping you, you stick to it.
It might be helpful for you to lose that that extra,
Yes, I'm listening. Go ahead.
the core stuff. I understand, like around the belly. That's good to lose that before you start rehabbing.
Amanda,
Nick, what's
is
it
that
like
true?
to believe the Earth is flat?
Might be true.
Ricky, I
Got
thought you
a
were going to
point
tell
there.
that story of like the worst night of your sleep is when Greg woke you up with a bucket of water.
Oh,
I thought that's the story you were going to
That's
tell.
the story I thought he was going for as well.
It's
Actually.
still, that's the maddest I've ever been in my life.
Oh gosh.
All right, guys, let's come back from our break. Here's how the next segment's going to work. Nick, you've got a few videos queued up. You're going to share your screen, and I will play those videos. Now, I'm just going to hold on one second. Did I seem to be kind of stuttery a little bit at times when I was speaking? Did the connection seem okay?
Yeah, it seemed good on my end.
Seem good?
Yes, we
Okay.
did.
All right. It just looks like I'm on Wi-Fi right now on my computer instead of my Ethernet, and I'm not sure why. But anyway, okay. So when we come back, we'll set up the. I'll set up the video clip segment, and Nick, I'm going to just basically throw it to you. So Amanda, here's how this segment's going to work. We're going to be showing some really ridiculous weather videos. And essentially, we're going to be providing a commentary for that video. So the video will be in the show notes when we actually post for the podcast. But remember, because we're an audio podcast, guys, nobody's going to be able to see the video. So we need to describe what's happening in the video, and obviously, we're gonna talk through it. So rather than saying, "Oh, that's so cool," we'll say something like, the way that tree is flying through the air is so cool, or whatever the thing happens to be. So I'm not even really sure which ones Nick has queued up, and that's kind of the fun of this, is that we'll be providing the commentary on the videos, and this will be an opportunity, Amanda, as well. I want you to think of this as an opportunity to interview us about what's actually happening. Like, why would somebody want to put themselves in that position? Like, is this guy crazy, or have you guys experienced that sort of thing? And it becomes an opportunity for us to share some weather stuff with you as well at the same time. Okay, everybody's
Sounds
clear
good.
on what we're doing?
You betcha.
All right, we'll come back in 3, 2, 1. All right, we are back on the El Niños, the Tornado Hunters podcast. And we've got Amanda Ruler with us. Amanda, before I forget, can you share with everybody what your Instagram and Twitter is again, all your social media?
Yeah, of course. So my Instagram is at Amanda Ruler. Ruler is with 2 L's. My Twitter is at Amanda Bollick. Guys can find me on my website, amandabollick.com, if you want. And you can find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Amanda Ruler. And I stream video games all the time, like Call of Duty, Madden. See you there.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool. My 14-year-old son would be thrilled with that.
That's my demographic. Yeah.
You're a gamer?
Yeah, I'm a gamer.
Ricky plays games like that too, I think.
Cool.
Well, listen, I'm glad to hear that you're into gaming, because we're going to actually do a few fun things in this segment. So we're going to start off with NickTheBody is going to queue up some videos, and we're going to be doing a little bit of commentary here, Amanda. And we obviously haven't shared these videos with you already. You have no idea what we're about to see. So as a non sort of weather nerd type, I'm really interested to see what you think of some of these videos, and it should be a lot of fun to watch. So Nick, why don't you take it from here?
Sure. So to begin, I've got this is ripped right from recent headlines, but this was the real first tornadoes of the spring season down in the Texas Panhandle. I know that's one of your fun places. Lots of stuff to do in the Panhandle around the Canadian/Happy Texas area. This one comes to us from the front porch of someone's acreage in the Texas chaparral of the Panhandle there, the Happy Texas tornado as seen from a front porch. And here it is.
So that to me is looking like a pretty violent tornado. You can see it actually spinning. That's clearly a wedge tornado on the ground. Amanda, does that look dangerous to you at this stage?
Already, this is looking super dangerous, and I'm wondering, like, how close would you guys want to get to this?
Well,
you ask.
Like before you like start heading the other way.
Like if we're in the truck, I'm feeling reasonably safe here, but we would be in panic mode at this stage, no question.
Okay.
Ricky especially.
Yeah, Ricky's always the first one to pull the trigger.
Like
Chubby?
I don't even know if I would be
Chubby?
filming this. I'd just be running.
For sure. Cubby's in the back having a smoke, telling us it's all okay. Greg will be fluffing his hair. Am I ready for the camera?
Did
I'd
look
be
at that?
panicking.
Did you see that wheelbarrow flying there?
Yeah.
There's that wheelbarrow's
Oh my
flying
God.
through
Nick,
there.
rewind it a bit.
Throw that again, Nick.
And that tornado gets so close. In the video, you can hear it
Ooh.
so well.
This camera work actually looks like a little bit like Nick's handiwork.
This guy's
shaky.
that's
Pretty
funny.
steady.
This guy's chimes were a real good investment.
Yeah, you think those lasted all the way through?
Well, listen
Like-
to them. They're chiming up a storm.
Watch here. You're seeing sticks flying across in front of the camera, and like it's just insane. You can't even see the tornado at this stage.
No, it's heavy winds left to right there, so it's already past them, I think.
Amanda, would you have stayed there and videoed?
I'm watching this and I don't think that I would have. I think I would have started sprinting 40 yards in the opposite direction. Because this is too close for me. I don't know about you guys. Like, have you been this close? Like, this almost looks like in the eye of the storm, but I haven't been in one before. So I don't know if this is like what level this is on.
The good thing we know about Amanda is that if she did need to sprint 40 yards to get away from a tornado, she could do it in 4.7 seconds. So that's
That's
Have
why
I
I
mentioned
said
that?
it.
So, Amanda, to answer your question, like all four of us have been this close, but never on purpose. Okay. Like this is not like this is as far from smart as you can get.
Hmm.
Like
That makes sense now.
Like that guy was literally a slight oscillation of the tornado, a few yards in any direction, and he would have been easily killed.
Sorry, what was that word, Greg?
Oscillation.
Fossilization.
Good on that guy though. Like I didn't really hear the
Yeah.
whole thing. Was he talking to anyone in the background? Was he?
Yeah,
solo
you can
up
hear
there?
there's a female there, and she's like, "I'm going to the bathroom,"
just at the beginning. He
assumedly for shelter. I'm
Right.
like, I have to tinkle.
Oh,
Okay, so Amanda, that is so funny that
Go number
you
two.
reacted that way to Ricky saying that about going to the bathroom. If you don't have a basement, do you know where you go in the house? Main floor bathroom.
oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't know that. I thought she just had to go pee or something. I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. So listen, you can have a house. You can have a house completely destroyed by a tornado, and you can survive that in the main floor bathroom. And as long as you're away from flying glass and windows, the main floor bathroom has the most walls per square foot in your home. And it just generally, if the house is flattened, usually that little area of the home is still kind of left standing. So
Yeah, speaking
Yeah.
like in engineering terms, so usually around a bathroom they use A-frames, and the A-frame can withstand the weight of the house coming down on top of it.
No.
Now
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I have no idea.
I
However,
just thought she was so scared she had to pee or something.
yeah, you know what this tornado reminds me of? I have to go pee. It is phenomenal
Right,
how
laugh.
many- it is wild how many stories are out there of people who have survived tornadoes in a bathtub, though, and like been thrown a long ways. And Greg, didn't you have a story of wasn't a dad with two kids
Yeah, that was in Valonia, Arkansas.
That's right. Yeah.
And it was a tornado direct hit on the town. And
Oh, Greg.
Uh-oh.
Look at that.
Frozen.
You gotta screen grab that. He's really focusing.
Oh
What
no.
do you think Greg's doing right now? You think he's swearing to himself?
I think so.
You got so angry at me. Make sure you have a good internet connection.
Yeah. So anyway, what happened in Valonia, Arkansas is like this guy, he took his 2 daughters, they got him into the tub. He like went up over top and grabbed the sides of the tubs and was just holding him down. They got tossed. The guy ended up breaking both of his arms. And then the 2 little girls were completely fine. And then like the one, you think that would be a dramatic experience. The one girl's like, Daddy, Julie, I don't know if that was her name, but Julie puked in my hair. Like that's the only thing she could worry about when, so it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's wild.
That's intense.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right, Nick, get the next video rolling here. We got to put Amanda through the ringer on these videos. Plus your mic is muted.
I'm excited to see more. Like this is intense stuff.
Yeah,
I don't get to see it this often. So
here's that's a bathroom there. Can you see that now? That's a bathroom that survived a tornado.
Nope, don't see it.
Can't see it? Greg, put that thing on the screen. There you go. So there's
my God.
Yeah, there's a tornado that wiped out that entire house, except for the enclosed spaces within the house, which in this case appear to be the bathroom and maybe a little closet back here.
Look at those 4 too. Hey, that's crazy.
Yeah,
look at those A-frames.
Yeah, I don't think that's right, but yeah. So yeah, let's move on to that next video then. How's that sound?
Cubby, the U.S. school system really let you down, hey?
I'll tell you what, though, the U.S. is on point right now as far as vaccination goes. Like they're up over, I think, close to 100 million people already. Where's Canada at?
I don't know.
Oh, Greg's muted.
He's trying to talk, but he is muted. There we go.
I am not muted now. Listen,
nice.
Chris, guess what? I'm going to be eligible, I think, like next week.
Oh, wow.
My age category, if you know what I'm talking
The
about.
65 plus?
Whoa!
Hey, yo.
Whoa! Damn. All right, Nick, what do you got for us?
All right, so this falls under the category of that accidentally too close to a tornado. This guy decides now's a good time to take his truck out for a spin.
This one's
Is that wise? Is that
this
a wise
is classic?
thing to
Look
do?
Amanda, you see the house there, and you see the garage, right? And then he's like,
bending over.
uh oh.
Okay, I'm gonna maybe call it sick.
Let's go back in the garage.
Oh my God.
Let's go back in the garage.
There's the garage.
And then the garage is destroyed. So, I mean, is that safe that he got out of the garage? I'm
what
so
the
confused.
hell? What the hell was that guy thinking to begin
Nick,
with?
one more time. Play that through one more time.
Yeah, you gotta play it one more time.
Really? Do you think that's rich for you to be saying that?
Now look at the walls. Those are cinder block walls. I don't know if you saw that, guys. Cinder block walls. So that's a pretty well constructed garage, and it just like in seconds just gets completely obliterated.
It looks like a Ford truck too, so he's probably safe because they're built Ford tough.
Shut up. There's so much debris in this tornado.
Yeah.
Look at
just
that.
Ripping apart homes. Whoa, the trees in there.
He's like, oh no, I'm going back in the garage. No, I'm not.
Where was this, Nick? God. Did it say in the description anywhere?
I think that was Germany.
Yeah, I have no idea where it was. Didn't say.
Have you guys seen something like this before where a building was completely, like a garage or a building completely wiped out?
Yeah, unfortunately, that's like the bad side of storm chasing, right? Like we're out there, we're having fun, we're capturing both the footage we need to get, the pictures we need to get. And then like, that's like the shitty part, is after the aftermath, trying to help out with search and rescue and just seeing people's families uprooted and destroyed, homes and, their lives are turned upside down. So yeah, that's the bad part.
Yeah, and I mean, seeing it live, seeing it happen live. In fact, if you look at the picture behind me on the wall, You know, obviously a tragic day, but that was the type of shut up, Nick. But yeah, you can, when you see buildings flying through the air, when you see you know, debris flying through the air, it really gives you a sense of how powerful these things can be. And honestly, it never gets old. It never, like, I mean, it still is shocking the first time that you see it. It's still as shocking when you see it 100 times. Yeah.
How fast can the winds get up to be able to knock over a building? Like, how fast does it have to get up to?
Nick, you want to field this one?
Yeah, it can get pretty fast.
Okay,
maybe even super fast.
They have
Okay,
they have these things. They have super fast. Like there's different categories of fast. So Greg uses the Beaufort scale, but I'll go with kilometers per hour just because
Sure.
and you know what? I actually maybe what,
like, if I'm sprinting, how fast do I have to sprint to be able to knock over?
Oh, we get it. You can run.
Yeah,
I'm trying to relate.
She's really hitting this, how fast she is. She's really hitting that hard.
If we're talking about lifting weights over my head, what are we talking here?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna have to go quite a bit faster. So the EF5s, which are the strongest on the enhanced Fujita scale, which is what both the United States and Canada use now to rate tornadoes, is 200 miles per hour plus. So, I mean, in kilometers per hour, that's like 4,000 kilometers an hour, Greg? What is that? I can't do the conversion. Greg's, I can't remember. I think it's 320,000 or 320 kilometers per hour, something in that range. So it can get pretty fast. Like 4.7 in 40 isn't going to cut it. And that's just wind speed. That's not how fast the tornado's moving.
Yeah.
And the fastest tornado ever was recorded. That was last year, wasn't it? Or the year before? It was 90 miles.
2014.
2014. That's right. That's what I said. Moving 90 miles per hour.
Ground speed.
So I actually, after I was in university, I actually competed in bobsled. So our sled got up to 90 miles per hour. Yeah, sorry, I forgot to mention.
Right.
Our sled physically got up to 90 miles per hour.
Really?
Yeah. So in a bobsled, if the tornado was contained only to the track, you would have a chance, because a 90 mile per hour tornadoes would be, there's only been one. Most tornadoes move much, much, much slower than that in terms of ground speed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes.
Is it really though, Amanda? Is it really interesting?
No, it is cool. Yeah. I'm trying to pick up something cool during the pandemic that I didn't know before, and that skill for me is learning weather with you guys.
Oh my God.
Was that
I don't know if you guys saw. I don't know if you guys saw in the comments there, but Peter Slack asked, "Is that garage an A-frame?" And in fact, Peter, it is not an A-frame.
That's why
actually that one that actually garage was in fact an A-frame, Chris.
Amanda, are we talking 2-person bobsled or 4-person?
So for women, it's always 2-man because there's no 4-man women's bobsled, but men is 2 and 4. So I competed in 2. So I was the brakeman. So I was in the back pushing the sled, running as fast as I can. And then your driver jumps in and I jump in right behind her. Hold on for dear life.
So is that because they don't trust you to drive it?
100%. They did not even trust me. Yeah. Well, it was because I was very fast. So they have drivers that.
We've heard that. We've heard how fast you are.
When I came into the sport, obviously, like when you have pilots, they're called pilots, the ones that drive. They actually train for quite a few years before to become a pilot with the bobsled. And so as a brakeman, I was just coming in. So I didn't know anything about the sport just yet. So.
Hey, Amanda, I'll throw this question at you. It came in through the comments and made me think of that video that we just watched. And Nick, can you just cue that same video up again, Nick? The exact same one we just watched with the garage. So, Amanda, when you watch the guy backs out of the driveway and you start seeing the debris flying around, and then as he pans back, the camera angle pans back to the garage. The garage gets blown away, roof of the house, there's some damage and that sort of thing. Where do you think that tornado rates as far as like severity of a tornado. So just to give you an idea, tornadoes can be rated on a scale from EF0 all the way up to EF5.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna take a wild guess.
Yeah. Go for it.
Honestly, a wild guess because I haven't seen as much as you guys. So on like a 3 out of 5. Was that fair to say?
But judging on how fast you can run, what would you think? Because you're a fast runner.
So
yes,
okay, so here's
humans
a couple telltale sort of like indicators as to what's happening and what kind of wind speeds you're talking about. So obviously, without analyzing the video completely, you'll notice that first of all, the garage gets blown down. So that's a pretty good indicator that it's a reasonably strong tornado. But the house was still standing.
Yeah.
Right? The house was still there. The house didn't get blown off its foundation or anything like that. And tornadoes are rated by how much damage they do. Like what's the damage that happens from the tornado? This is probably in the neighborhood of, I'm guessing, EF1 damage.
Oh,
maybe EF2, but I don't even think it would be EF2. Like you'll see that those trees, the ones on the left-hand side, some of them are gone, some of them are still standing. The roof of the house is still there, and you know that garage, the door was open, and it's it's a garage. It's not exactly built the same way a house would be. So I'm guessing probably EF1, maybe EF2. Nick, what do you think, NickTheBody?
Yeah, I would say a strong EF1, maybe on the lower end of an EF2, just because it does look like it takes a little more than the roof off of a couple of the structures, the more well-built structures. Like the entire shingles disappeared off the house very quickly there. But yeah, this wouldn't be what we would consider a super strong tornado.
So you can imagine what EF5 would do.
Yeah. No, now I understand more of like the rating. I want to see a bigger one. If you guys have any more videos, I feel like there might be another one.
All right, Nick, what else you got for us?
Well, just before we take that detour, I wanted to just say that for context, like Amanda, I don't know if you guys have heard this, but she's really fast. And that sprint she did, I did a little conversion in my head over the last little bit here. And she's actually running in those 40 yards. She's actually running about 27.5 kilometers an hour. That's pretty friggin' fast. Like I don't think I could run that fast.
I know you could not run that fast.
I don't think I could run that fast.
Don't you run it every day, Nick?
I do run, well, most days, yeah, but I don't run for speed. I run for pleasure.
Copy that. Yeah, I'm in the same boat.
Yikes. I don't like jogging. Do you mean jogging?
So here's what I do, Amanda. Let me go over my regimen. And you tell me what I'm doing and wrong or right. I roll out of bed at about 730 hours or so. I get up, I make myself a big bowl of red line oats. This is my new thing. And really, I'm making the red line oats because I've had some trouble with constipation recently. So I'm on the oatmeal and the caffeine. Red line oats have coffee in the oatmeal, so it turns the water into coffee, and you eat that with the oats. Then what I do is I slam back a Rockstar or a Monster energy drink.
Perfect.
I work my real job for 4 hours in the morning, and then at noon I fire up my treadmill, and then on the treadmill I walk at 3.4 kilometers an hour for 5 minutes, and then I crank her into high gear up to 5 miles per hour for 20 minutes, and I go at 5 miles per hour for 20, and then I crank her right back down to 3.4 for the last 5 minutes. I get off. Bowl of oatmeal, energy drink again. Then I'm usually good till the evening.
That's a great story, Nick.
I loved it. It just like it went up and it down. It just had cliffhangers. I really liked it. I think you're doing all the right stuff.
Just a second. I forgot to tell you. I also have the treadmill on a 5% incline.
That changes everything. I was gonna say like that sounds like such a boring workout, but like now it's up. It's up for me. I might do it.
So the workout matches the story. Excellent. That's cool.
Don't hurt yourself, Nick.
Yeah, don't hurt yourself.
Hey guys,
sounds intense.
Listen, I just realized backstage we actually have one of our regular contributors, and let's bring in all the way from Yellowknife, Northwest Territories. We have on mute right now, but he's going to unmute his mic in any second now. We have Alan Gofanko of Alan and Braden. How are you doing, Alan?
Good. How are you doing, Greg?
I'm doing well, but when you were watching that video, I know you were backstage. You were watching that video. Where would you rate that tornado?
Crap in the pants. Crap in the pants for sure. Can you imagine? You're backing out of your garage. You have no idea. Guy's probably not even checking his rearview mirror. Pulls into the road. He's seeing. It reminds me flashbacks of corn husks that we saw 2 years ago hitting the side of the vehicles, and then all of a sudden it's game over. I don't know what he was thinking. Did the wind blow that car forward? Was he like putting it into drive, panicking, or what? Clean underwear required.
I would love to have heard the audio of what was going on in the car at that moment, because
sure.
I can only assume he was crapping his pants.
The dog wasn't in the garage because the dog's gone. The dog's gone.
All right, so Alan, stick with us. We're gonna let's hit Nick. Let's hit one more. What we got? One more video you can queue up for us?
Yeah, I do. In fact, I'm going on the fly here because Amanda said she wanted to see one more tornado video. So rather than that other nonsense I was going to put up, I'm going to throw up one more very short clip of a tornado and what can happen to those houses. So here you go.
Uh-oh.
Look at the house.
Is this
okay? So this is Scott McPartland's video. Yeah.
Just iconic.
Yeah, so I mean, this is a well-built house, and it is
just the roof is coming off.
That's
like a house party.
That's the whole frame.
The roof.
Like a house party.
It is raising the roof.
Yeah. Now you remember, Amanda, that first video that we watched where the guy was filming from his front porch? Yeah. He has no idea whether that tornado is an EF0 or if it's one of these where it's going to lift this house off its foundation. Like crazy that guy was filming the video.
Yeah, scary.
Right. So what crazy level would you rate that guy out of 10?
10. Yeah, he should have definitely been in the basement.
Yeah, but to be fair, a lot of times it's you don't know what you don't know either.
It's true, Ricky. That's a great point.
That's like saying, Ricky, that'd be like saying like, you know, that bear that I don't know if that bear is going to attack me, but he is 15 feet away from me, that bear.
Yeah, but you see people mingling with bears all the time to get pictures and stuff like that. I just saw a guy get in an elephant enclosure with his like 4-year-old kid at the zoo 2 days ago, and the elephant false charged him, and he just stood there. And then he got arrested for child endangerment after, which is a blessing because a lot of the time these idiots don't have any consequences happen unless
where was the zoo that the guy could get into the enclosure like that?
He went through three separate walls to get into where the elephants are behind, like the big fence, the small fence, and the barbed fence.
It was like an electrical fence, I want to say.
Yeah, like a big electrical fence, like with his child.
It's like some idiot who would ever wrestle like alligators, for example. Like, why? Right? Why?
Right.
Yeah. Broken noses? Maybe.
Yeah. So I don't know if you know the backstory there, Amanda, but when we were shooting our show, we were down in the Florida Keys, and for some reason, our producers at the time, we had a down day, and usually when you have a down day, the whole day is completely off. And for some reason, the producers thought it would be amazing if we just did like a little morning segment going to like a alligator rescue kind of like farm situation. And we just went right in the alligator pit. And Ricky and Greg were having fun with the alligators. And then all of a sudden, I'm holding my alligator, and it whips his head around and cracks me in the nose.
No. You're cutting out half the story.
and breaks my nose in 14 different places.
This is what happened. Greg and I were both taking it seriously. We're both like panicked, stressing out. We're holding on to these alligators. What we got ourselves into. Chittick has one hand on the back of his alligator and the other hand he's smoking. And I was looking over and I was like, I hope he does get hit. He deserves it. It smashes him in the face and he looks over at me and he's just bleeding. Of course that was going to happen.
And didn't you have like eight fractures in your nose or something like that?
Yeah, so on the day off, I have to go spend the whole day at the Miami emergency room. It was not a good day off.
And the great part about doing the alligator thing and him breaking his nose is that had a lot to do with us storm chasing. That really was important for the show.
Yeah, exactly.
This elephant zoo, this elephant zoo encounter happened in San Diego 3 days.
No.
Yes.
Holy smokes.
He drops his 2-year-old kid.
Wow.
And he
Was
gets
he not
shot right
even
there.
facing the elephant?
How did he even get over there?
To be fair, the elephant was kind of nice about it. Like that elephant could have done some pretty nasty.
Yeah, 100%. Elephants are very fast.
Yeah,
he's getting his picture taken right there, isn't he? He's not even paying attention.
What an idiot.
Drops his kid. Anyway, he was arrested for child endangerment. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, so when you talk about like when Ricky says you don't know what you don't know, I mean, that sounds like just something dumb Ricky would say on any day. But I think he's hitting the nail on the head. Some people don't get it. They don't know.
No.
All right. Well, listen, speaking of getting it, Nick, let's play a game with Amanda and the rest of you knuckleheads. And here's the game we're going to play, Amanda, and we're going to keep this real simple tonight. And it's called Weather Words. Okay. And here's the way it's going to work is I'm going to ask you a weather question, and I'm going to give you a chance to answer first. And if you don't get it, if you don't get the right answer, then we'll go to the tornado hunters. We'll get them to answer the question. And just so you know, Amanda, if you think that somehow they have an advantage over you on this, I can assure you they do not.
Oh, okay.
All right. So number one,
Sounds
let's
good.
let's go to number one. And Nick, any chance you can cue some music up for me on this one? I feel like we need some music on this one.
What kind of sound are you looking for?
I don't know, just some sort of intro music for this segment. We'll call it Weather Words. What do you got for me?
Well, I mean, best I think I can do with Amanda here for today. I mean, we can pick a different theme per person, but I think the best theme for Amanda is probably The Price is Right.
Right on. I like it. I like it. Okay.
Just flexing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give us one of those, Amanda.
Come on down.
Yeah. I'll send you the screen grab of it later. It's pretty intense.
Awesome. All right. So here's your first weather word, Amanda. I would like you to tell me what is the opposite of evaporation? What is the opposite of evaporation?
Precipitation? It just sounded like
Incorrect.
it rhymed. It sounded like it
Nick,
rhymed.
give me one of those.
Next person.
Give me one of those.
Sorry, I missed the opportunity to hit the buzzer there.
I can edit this whole part out, Nick, if it helps you.
I think I got a slow internet connection or something like that.
Is that what it is? It's the internet? Okay.
I think it's the internet.
Lillian Blair, one of our viewers on YouTube right now, did get the right answer. I'm not even going to go to the tornado hunters on this one. The correct answer is condensation. Condensation. So evaporation, the opposite of evaporation is condensation. So congratulations on that one, Lillian. Well done. And Amanda, number 2 here. Do you know what an isobar is? An isobar.
An isobar.
This should be good.
When I was younger, the Schwan man used to come and deliver ice cream, and I swear I would get an isobar.
No,
No?
totally wrong. Completely wrong. So let's go to the tornado hunters. Let's go to the tornado hunters. What is an isobar? Alan, Cubby, Ricky, any of you guys know? What is an isobar?
That's one of our downtown bars here in Yellowknife. 7 months of the year, it's an iso bar.
No, incorrect. Ricky, what's an isobar?
It has to do with pressure.
Okay, that's very good, Chris. Can you narrow that down a little bit more?
Yeah, so like it's a measurement of pressure that's remaining in the atmosphere.
God, you all you're doing is using words in a like a it's like one of those word generator things. Here's a list of weather words I've heard, and I'm just going to try to put a few of them together. Ricky, what about you? You're laughing hard here, but do you know what an isobar is?
For sure. It's when you're shooting lightning at nighttime and you gotta dial up the ISO, and you just get to a certain bar within that limit.
No.
Nick?
All right, NickTheBody. Any guess on what
My
an
understanding of the isobar is that when you plot a point of lines on a map, a weather map, the pressure at sea level, those equal connecting lines make up an isobar.
That is correct. The correct definition: the line drawn on a weather map connecting points of equal barometric pressure. So there you go, Amanda.
Ooh.
You can put that one onto your list of things you learned during COVID.
That's what I said.
All right, now listen, for the keen-eared listeners, Nick actually mentioned this earlier in the broadcast. But here is the question, and he gave the answer away earlier in the broadcast. But Amanda, what does the Beaufort scale measure? What does the Beaufort scale measure?
The speed
Of
the wind?
Correct. It is a measurement of wind speed.
Yay.
Very,
Okay, I was
very
trying to
good.
remember, but the wheels were turning. It came slowly, but I got it.
Right on. And here's the next one, and this will be our last one. Amanda, can you tell us what are doldrums? Doldrums, DOLDRUMS, doldrums.
Holy smokes. I don't even know what that is at all. I can't even make up anything for a doldrum. Just sounds like somebody I went on a date with and I wasn't having fun because it was just dull and dumb. Like I'm like, it was kind of a dull and dumb date. Put it together.
I didn't know you and Ricky dated.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. After you stole Amanda's hair product, you were you were out of the running.
Oh God, I love that joke. Okay, let's go. Tornado hunters. What are the doldrums? Cubby.
Low point, low period.
God. Okay, let's move on. Alan, what about you? Gofenko from Yellowknife.
Doldrums are, I believe it's the type of pineapple that's grown in Hawaii. It's by the Dole Company. And when they get to a certain size, if you tap them, they sound just like a drum.
Incorrect. Rick.
Damn.
Yeah, for sure. No, it comes from ancient Greece. And no, it sounds like an afternoon at your
Sounds
place,
like an
Greg.
afternoon. It's just
NickTheBody.
Doldrums just means depressed.
Okay, well, in terms of weather words, remember our category today is weather words.
No.
Doldrums is a nautical term for the equatorial region of light winds between the trade winds of the two hemispheres. So
And
along the equator, you have this
nautical-
area where the doldrums would be very bad, for example, for sailing because there's no wind. Okay?
Nautical being the opposite of radical.
Right.
Bud got that
Listen,
right.
Amanda, I want to thank you for putting up with us today. We had a ton of fun. We found out that you are incredibly fast. And tell us, what last chance here. Tell us what you got coming up, how people can follow you, where they can get a hold of you, all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah, so just working on being an athlete right now. I'm going to look towards competing in Olympic lifting a little bit more if meets start coming out. So keep following my journey as an athlete, and you'll get some speed and fitness tips if you follow along with my journey on Instagram at Amanda Ruler, Ruler with 2 L's, on Twitter at Amanda Bollick, and you can
How do you spell that, Amanda?
Amanda Bollick, AmandaBolic.
Okay, got it.
There we go. Yeah. I was like
Right on.
thinking about the whole thing. I'm like, da. And then you can find me on my website, amandabollick.com. If you do want to work with me for speed training, you can apply there. And you can find me on Twitch at Amanda Ruler. I stream video games.
Very cool. Well, listen, thanks very much, Amanda, for joining us. Before we go to our next break, we are going to spend a little bit of time with two very special guests. We recorded this earlier this week, and hopefully next time around we'll get them on live. But Nick, tell us who you had a chance to talk to earlier this week.
So anyone who's in the weather world in Canada knows who Frankie McDonald is. And so he's a guy out in Sydney, Nova Scotia, who uses his platform on YouTube to warn people across the country about incoming and impending potential weather disasters, weather issues, storms, earthquakes. And so for as an example, the earthquake that happened, unfortunately, in Christchurch, New Zealand, a number of years ago, Frankie was on that one about 3 weeks in advance, predicting that there would be a significant seismic event that occurred there. And that's actually how I sort of first started seriously following him on YouTube. I'd seen a couple of his videos prior to that. Anyway, he's monetized his platform into this huge empire of action figures, bobbleheads. He's got a book. He's planning a world tour once this damn pandemic is over. And he still hops on the YouTube every once in a while to let us in Regina know about, snowstorms and potential tornadoes we're going to get. He's joined now by Dylan Atack, who is a guy out in Hamilton who works for the Hamilton Tiger Cats and has for about 16 years now. And they're two members of the autism community. So both carry an autism diagnosis with them. But they've got their own TV show now out on Cable 14 in Hamilton. And that's streaming live actually every Thursday night. And so if you go to the Cable 14 website out in Hamilton, just Google Cable 14 Hamilton, and it'll bring up a link to their show. And you'll be able to watch their show every Thursday night. It streams. And so they have on guests, celebrities, athletes, you name it.
They've had Sidney Crosby on, I think.
Twice. Dylan's met Sidney Crosby a couple of times. He's got an autograph. He's got all of the things that I'd like to have in my basement, to be quite honest. And so we figured it'd be a good idea to have these guys on the show regularly. Frankie to do some weather for us, and Dylan to help with the promotion side, to give these guys another platform to help with their success. So Chris and I, Cubby, had a chance to sit down and talk to them last week, and this is what we came up with.
Okay, great. So we'll just cut it there. We'll insert that interview, Nick, into the podcast. And so if you want to hear that interview with Dylan and Frankie McDonald, then you'll have to tune into the actual podcast, subscribe at Stormfront Freaks Podcast on your favorite podcast app. And as I mentioned off the top before we actually started doing the recording, we will be going alternate weeks on the Stormfront Freaks podcast feed. And so 1 week you will get Stormfront Freaks, and then the next week you will get El Niños, the Tornado Hunters podcast. And so that the reason we're doing that, frankly, is that we've got this great audience over there at Stormfront Freaks, 127 episodes over 6 seasons. And so a really great audience who's tuned into the weather. And so we're going to be piggybacking off of the success from Stormfront Freaks and bringing you El Nino. So we'll get that. We will get that interview into the show. So let's wrap it up, guys. We'll insert that break. That'll be our second break for this evening. And then when we come back from the break, we're just going to do a quick sign off. Thank you to Amanda for coming, and then we will, if anybody wants last couple words that they want to get in. Alan, I'm going to throw you into the back room again there for the time being, and so we'll come back and we will wrap this up. And remember, we're wrapping up as if we just listened to Frankie and Dylan. Okay. And I hope, have you all had a chance? I know, Amanda, you haven't, but Ricky, have you had a chance to watch that interview?
I have, yeah.
Okay, good. Okay. So we're coming back from that interview, and Cubby, I'll get you to sort of lead us or sort of take us out of the break and out of that interview. Okay.
All right. In 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to El Niños. So we just heard from Frankie and Dylan, 2 amazing guys from out east, and they did a great job. We're going to have them on every single week that we're doing our podcast, bi-weekly actually, and it should be a great time. They're great guys.
Yeah, and Nick, thank you for being involved with that and getting getting Dylan and Frankie all queued up. Thanks, Chris, for making the arrangements on it. And yeah, I think it'll be a fun segment to do every time we're recording. But that brings us to the end of episode 1. Episode 1, guys.
Woo!
Yeah, I know, right?
Yay.
That's pretty exciting. And Amanda, thank you so much for joining us. A few little growing pains here along the way. And you had to put up with Nick and well, you're used to Ricky, but Cubby and myself. But thank you so much. I hope you had a lot of fun, and thanks for joining us on the podcast tonight.
For sure. Thanks a lot, Amanda.
Exactly. I had a lot of fun, and I was your first guest ever, so got to bring me back another time to
for sure
reconnect. So
yeah, it may be one of those. It may be one of those trivia questions a few years from now, right? Like, who was the first on that really awesome podcast with those millions of followers and who was the first guest on that show? It was Amanda Ruler.
Wow.
Very
part
cool.
of history.
Yeah,
nice
thank you, Amanda.
Dream.
Right on. So listen, go to Stormfront Freaks on your favorite podcast app, Apple Podcast. You can get it on Google Play. You can do Castbox. You can any of these podcast streaming platforms. Subscribe to Stormfront Freaks podcast. It's also an amazing podcast. On Stormfront Freaks, we've had incredible guests like Jim Cantori from the Weather Channel, Reed Timmer, famous extreme meteorologist Reed Timmer. Also on the show has been Meredith Garofalo from meteorologist Meredith Garofalo and many, 127 other guests along the way. Josh Morgerman, the Hurricane Man, and all sorts of wonderful guests. So check out Stormfront Freaks podcast and subscribe, and you will also have in your inbox once every 2 weeks the Tornado Hunters podcast, El Niños.
Niños.
I think that sounds pretty good. I think the El Niños thing is going to catch
Somebody
on.
said in the comment section it's supposed to be Los Niños.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
saw
don't
that
worry
too.
about that. Don't worry about that.
I don't know. I don't trust you guys.
Don't worry about it. El Niños is just fine.
Make sure you pronounce the S. Niños.
Niños. Yeah,
Amanda. Yeah, Amanda. Thank you so much. I am going to get in touch with you actually in the upcoming off season because it's my goal to be probably the fastest sprinter when it comes to being a storm chaser. So we need to work together. You need to get me going fast. That way I can run back and forth from the truck to the tripod and get the shots that I need to get.
Exactly. No, I can help you there.
What's the longest you've ever ran? 10 minutes?
No.
Him?
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like probably 2 minutes.
How long?
2 minutes? If that even, maybe 1 minute.
Until you had another smoke?
I'm actually quitting coming up.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I am.
heard that for a few years, Chittick.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I want to say for Amanda, Cubby, Dick Forbes, and Nick the Body, I'm Greg Johnson. This is the El Niños Tornado Hunters podcast. And thank you very much for tuning in and have a great week. And we'll talk to you again soon.
El Niños.
Goodbye.
Bye.
All right. And we're clear. So, some growing pains, a few growing pains.
Yeah, we'll get it dialed in.
But I think we did pretty well. Amanda, you've done some podcasts before, right?
Oh yeah, tons.
Obviously.
Yeah. That was really good though, because the flow was very nice, and there wasn't a lot of awkward pauses. Like sometimes when I get interviewed quite a bit, people don't listen to each other. They just kind of like ask back-to-back questions, and I like the way it flowed. Does that help a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay,
that's good. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
Alan,
the flow was very good.
Alan, we didn't get you in a ton there. Sorry about that. I until Chris actually made the little private chat comment that you were. I was like, God damn it.
No worries. I think because it's an audio podcast, we have to remember to describe the video as it's being played the first time. Yeah. That's a key piece for sure. And then
that's a great point right there, Alan. Thanks for the input.
Yeah, and then I think if you're gonna have your special guests on, like, you know how you briefed us with links to the videos, Chris, it would almost be better to not know ahead of time, just to have that. Like, Amanda's reactions were really solid and honest. You didn't see any of the videos prior, right, Amanda?
I did.
Well, that's good acting.
Yeah, once again, Alan, thank you for the input. That's great.
Really appreciate it. We'll take it in. Think about
Why
it.
I'm here.
Did someone make notes? Greg, were you taking notes?
I took a few notes. I'm taking notes. We have to come up with a title. I wrote a couple of options down. So episode 1, I'm thinking we title it "She is Really Fast."
There is somebody in the comments that put whatever that oscillating word that you're trying to think of.
Oh yeah.
And then we forgot to talk about who the next guest is, Greg.
Yeah, I forgot to do that too. So, by the way, I've got that. Amanda, do you know who Corey Forrester is? Corey Forrester?
Oh, not personally, no.
You don't know who that is? Okay.
No.
Apparently, I'm the only one who's a giant fan of Corey Forrester, but he's a comedian, and he's kind of like he's from Georgia, and he's just a really, really funny comedian. I just really like him anyway. So trying to get him on. So
oh, nice.
He might be the next guest. But what?
We should get Kelly Taylor. He's a comedian from Prince Albert. By far the funniest, like one of the funniest comedians in Saskatchewan.
Really? Kelly Taylor?
Yeah, I'll get in touch with him. He's awesome.
Okay, yeah, right. Get that over to Cubby, and Cubby can Cubby can hit them up.
Nick, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought it went fairly well. I don't have any sort of major suggestions at this point.
I couldn't hear the sounds sometimes. They were like when you were playing the sounds. They were really,
I think
really
I'm
mild.
I think I'm gonna have to try and get. I think I'm gonna try and get some audio software and figure that one out.
Because when we were doing our run through, it seemed
it
to work
sounded way
really,
better.
really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So listen, you guys stick around. I'm just gonna end the broadcast. Again, for everybody who's tuning in on Facebook, YouTube, or anywhere else right now, thanks for tuning in. You saw all the behind the scenes crap. This is our raw recording, and we'll be obviously cutting this down to put together a proper audio podcast. But
Is there a reason why we chose to shoot in RAW instead of JPEG?
Okay, we got to go. Bye-bye.